This episode is brought to you by HP Plus. In a world full of smart devices, shouldn't your printer be smart too? It is with HP Plus. These printers know when they're running low, so you always get the ink you need delivered. Plus, you save up to 50%, so you can print whatever you want, anytime you want. Huh, that is pretty smart. Get 6 months of instant ink included when you choose HP Plus. Conditions apply. Visit hp.com/smart for details.
Empire.
Welcome to a very special edition of All's Caps with former Capitals defenseman Karl Alzner. I'm AP hockey writer Steve Wino, and we're happy to be joined by former Capitals general manager George McPhee, now president of hockey operations for the Vegas Golden Knights. Good to see you, George.
Nice to be seen. Nice to see you guys. Thank you very much.
We were just talking about how things have changed around here. This feels like a different arena from when you were here.
Yeah, they've done a fabulous job of redoing some of this infrastructure here, and I know it was those were things that Ted has wanted to do for a long time, and when he finally got control of everything, he was able to do lots of things that make the whole experience for players and fans better.
Yeah. Well, I think, speaking of that, going to Vegas is it's entertainment there. That's one of the best things about going to watch a game there, and everyone that I've talked to just loves that it's a show, because it is what we do. It's a sport. It's entertainment. That's what you want. And, I think it's just, you want to go there and you want to have a good time. The hockey only happens for so much. There's the intermissions, there's the whistles, the timeouts, all that stuff. You want a few other things going on. And were you involved in that process of how you wanted the whole picture to look in terms of what you wanted to bring to the city of Las Vegas? Or was it more just focusing on the team itself?
No, I'm involved in the other side of our business. Our owner has had me involved since the day he hired me. We started hiring our hockey staff, and I think we hired 35 people in 60 days. But I was involved in hiring the important people on the business side of our operation, and so I really appreciated that. And when it came to the entertainment, I told them how important it is in today's NHL, and especially in Vegas, you got to put on a show because there's all kinds of entertainment there, and so we've got to entertain as well, and maybe we can have a great production, whether the team's playing well or not. It's a great experience.
Yeah. So
we put money into it, we focus on it, and we do make it quite an experience. And the fans have made it, they've really supported this team. The team has played well, and so far it's been a terrific thing for Vegas and for the league.
I would say I would recommend any Capitals fans who have not gone to a game in Vegas, go to a game in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
And that's my first, just everything about the experience. The pre-show is amazing. Just the atmosphere. It's not quite like Montreal, in terms of the old school, but it's a fun place to watch a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our fans have been very. It's a hospitality town. Our fans have been very friendly to out of town fans. Mm-hmm. It's not like if you go to some games in this division here. The fans aren't going to be that hospitable.
Exactly. Well, I think it's something that you can go into it as much detail as you want, but the expansion draft it was so much fun. It was fun for everybody.
Was it fun as a player?
I think it was fun depending on where you knew you stood with your team.
Okay.
I think that made a bit of a difference, and I was free agent that year, so it was not something that really involved me. So I thought it was fun. I know my buddies thought it was fun. They're all trying to figure out what was going to go on and draft your team for you. But I was looking at it yesterday and today, and there were so many, when you look back on it, really, really good pickups. And I'm wondering, is there one that stands out for you that you were like, I can't believe that this guy's exposed, or I'm really proud of what we did there? Because just going back and quickly recapping for anyone who's listening is, the getting Fleury obviously was huge, and also a second round pick, I think, if I wrote that down right. Picking up Riley Smith, who ended up being really solid.
Nate Schmidt.
Nate Schmidt, of course, getting Tuck, and also for choosing Holla. I don't know exactly how that went down with Minnesota. If they were protecting somebody, and then this is maybe one of the craziest ones: is Carlson and a first and second rounder for taking the Clarkson contract. Those are all unbelievable when you think about it, especially how you guys did at the beginning of the year. Is there anything that you were really, really proud of the way it worked out?
Well, I'd have to say I'm really proud with all of the things that we did. What I guess I'm most impressed with is that we didn't feel like we missed anything.
Yeah.
There weren't.
Yep. I don't think you did.
If you go back over it, say, well, who did we miss on? We didn't.
Right.
And so we really hired a terrific staff, and we went to work right away, and with mock drafts and getting our guys to games and meeting often, and as we went through the process, we were getting more facile with the NHL rules, and we'd have a few questions to ask of the league and got answers. And by the end of it, it was sort of like going into that final exam in whatever school you're in and knowing that you know it. Like once you get going, like, we know this, we're nailing this. And the one thing I think that I don't know how many people are aware of this. What we were worried about was this massive redistribution of players right before we got to the expansion draft, because we were talking to teams and everything else, and just thought, players are going to start moving around here. And so we tried to get in the way of that. And what we did, we thought there were 10 teams we should do deals with that should do a deal with us to protect their assets. And with 9 of them, we got deals done. And basically said, now that our deal's done, you can't do anything else. You can't become a landing spot for another team, because you're protected. You can't start adding players. And there were 2 of the GMs that we dealt with out of the 9 that called back a week or so later saying, I've got another deal, I'd like to be able to do it. And I said, well, then the deal's off, because you got 7 other GMs that are living up to the deal. And so they said, okay, we won't do it. And so they didn't do it. So we had 9 guys that had deals, and we didn't tell anybody. Nobody knew. And they were all conditional deals on nothing happening between then and the draft. And what it did was lock up the market. It sort of froze it. And so when we got to the expansion draft, it was all what we expected it to be. We didn't have to rejig our models or anything else, and we just started taking players.
Is there a GM when you were running everything that you just would not make a trade with? Someone that you just would not want to deal. You don't have to say who, but I'm just curious.
No.
Like, it seems like, from a business side, you kind of have to be open to talking with everybody.
That's
but
right.
There wasn't ever anyone that you're just like, no, I couldn't do it with this guy?
No, it's I would say the hardest one was dealing with was Garth Snow, because while I was in between jobs as a manager, he asked me to be an advisor for his club.
Yeah.
And so when it came time to deal with him, he wanted to move a contract, and we got, I think it was a first round pick for doing that, and I think we got a second round pick for something as well. And you don't ever want to squeeze anybody, but if there's anybody you want to give a break to, it would have been him. But even then, my obligation was to the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, it's almost like it's harder dealing with your friends, because you don't want to do that.
It is. Yeah.
Everyone wants to win.
Yeah.
And George won Executive of the Year for all of these moves in 27-18, in case we didn't realize that already.
Well, I think it would be interesting too now to pivot a little bit towards some cap stuff, because this has the same. It's similar, constructing a team. And a buddy on my beer league team that I'm playing with now, he actually brought this up to me yesterday about just going back to because it's happening around the league a lot right now. There's a lot of teams that need to do some sort of restructuring, a rebuild, retool, whatever you want to call it.
In a flat cap world,
Yes.
which is almost impossible to do, as you know, as you well know.
So going back to a time in '04 when on paper the team was pretty stacked. Like some of these names, Gonchar, Yager, Bondra, Lang, like really, really good team. And then you guys ended up moving everybody out and starting kind of from the bottom. At what point did you realize that, or what was it, I guess, that you saw that needed to just be completely turned around? And what you did was masterful. Like it was turned like, I got to give you and the whole staff credit, I think, for the city and the way hockey is in this town now, because everywhere I go, everybody wants to talk about it. We got backyard rinks popping up in places in McLean and Great Falls, Arlington. Everybody loves hockey now, and it's huge. Obviously, winning helps, but the team won because of what you guys were able to do, and it started by realizing something needed to change. And at what point did you realize it, and what was it?
Well, first of all, the one of the things you're most proud of is hiring a guy like Ross Mahoney, who has just been lights out at the draft table. Probably the best guy in the league, or top 3. And it's interesting, in the first 5 years we weren't having much luck, and so we changed everything in how we did things. And but we didn't change any people. Kept the same people, but just the process was different. With respect to that team and changing things there, we had met the year before, Ted and Dick and I, after the season, and talked about, is it time to get ready for the future, what may be a salary cap. And 2 of the 3 of us didn't want to do it because we were a playoff team. And so then we got together the next summer, and 2 of the 3 were ready to, why don't we move what we have and just start over, be transparent with our fans, and go with draft picks and young players and make trades, and so we did, because we wanted to be ready for the salary cap. And I met with various teams in other leagues that dealt with salary cap and everything else, and learned some lessons there, and we did it. And we moved everybody, and started working at drafting. And boy, we did a heck of a job of drafting. And then it's drafting is your lifeblood, but you've got to do more. You've got to put the right veterans around young players, and we did that. And it's just turned out to be one heck of a hockey team ever since.
We bring up drafting. After this, I want to bring up what you said might be the easiest draft pick of your life, Mr. Karl Alsner.
This episode is brought to you by DirecTV Stream. Introducing DirecTV Stream, the best of live TV and on demand, which means you can get all your favorite sports, movies, and shows together, so you can watch new episodes of your favorite reality shows live or binge old episodes on demand. Either way, get ready for some drama. And the best part? DirecTV Stream has no annual contract. DirecTV Stream. Get your TV together at directtv.com. Requires high-speed internet and compatible device. Content varies by package and location. Restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Perfect Snacks. Looking for a nutritious and delicious snack? Look no further than Perfect Snacks. They have a variety of products made with freshly ground peanut butter, honey, and 20 organic superfoods. It'll be love at first bite. And now for a limited time, they're offering a chance to try their refrigerated protein bars for free. Just sign up for email or text, upload a picture of your receipt, and they'll reimburse you for the cost of 1 bar. To get a free Perfect Bar today, visit perfectsnacks.com/Spotify.
Welcome back to All's Caps with former Capitals defenseman Karl Alsner and former Capitals general manager George McPhee. I'm AP hockey writer Steve Wino. We're talking about kind of the rebuild of the Washington Capitals with George, and you said how good you guys were at drafting. 2007 draft, top 5 pick, and you choose this defenseman from the Calgary Hitmen and Karl Alsner. What did you make of Karl at the time, and that decision to draft him then?
Yeah, well, it was easy. I thought that Karl was an outstanding defensive defenseman who eats pucks and does all that stuff, all the little things that are nobody wants to do. And I just thought he was going to play for 15 years and be a top 4 guy. And it's just hard to find good defensemen. And you've got to have, if you've got a good defense, then you can be in every game. And you've seen it probably with the Caps, and you can see it with our team, other teams that have had a lot of injuries this year. You can lose some forwards and hang in there. You start losing defensemen, and you're in trouble. And so I've just felt that that's an important part of drafting, is getting the right defenseman and the leadership that goes with it, especially with Karl. He's a captain with Team Canada and everything else. And so that was one of the easier picks we've made.
I gotta just talk about the combine for a second and draft day.
And don't let me forget the story. Might be the same story.
Well, if it is, you can chime in. I've told this a couple times because I think it's hilarious. And I was so nervous at the combine. There's 30 teams. I had probably 20 or so meetings, and I come into the room with you guys, and there was like 20 of you guys, like a lot of guys. I was a little intimidated. I think you guys even ordered Subway, and it was delivered during the meeting, and it was going okay. A lot of questions. You guys asked me. I think you guys said one of the people in here is European, or even maybe Russian, and I think I picked Vogue's. Mike Vogel. I thought it was Vogue Silver Fox. Yeah. He was like, it's got to be this guy. And I remember that being kind of funny. But the thing that really stuck out was you guys asked me to tell a joke, and I didn't want to be, a guy that just says, sorry, I don't have any jokes. So I thought of the first joke that came to my head, and I don't know if you remember it, but it was a joke that I heard on the bus in Junior B, and it was the only, like back in the day when hazing happened a little bit more, where the players had to go sit in the bathroom stall for a long bus road trip, and it was the only joke I ever heard keep a guy out of the bathroom. And I'm like, well, I gotta say it. It's very offside, and I would never repeat it ever. And I said it to you guys, and the looks on your guys' faces were kind of like, did this kid really just say that joke? And I thought I ruined it. I thought I was done. So I walked into the draft day in Columbus thinking, okay, well, I know I'm not going to Washington because those guys hated my joke. They probably hate me. They think I'm a weirdo, something like that. And so it ended up happening that way. But I thought I had 3 meetings with LA, and as I left the hotel, Kelly Buchberger says to me, he's like, hey, stick around till 6 and you're going to be an Oiler. So I'm like, okay, I'm either going to be a King or I'm going to be an Oiler. Yeah. And then I got there, and then the draft happened. Yeah. And so I don't know if that was the same story or not, but I was...
No, it's not the same story. But we used to do that to get kids to relax. But you often learned a lot about the kids because some were real nervous trying to tell a joke. Some just reveled in it. And, and others would, if they didn't have a joke, we had a couple guys come back to tell us a joke.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because they remember later? Like,
I got one. I'm going back to talk to those guys.
That's hilarious.
No, the story, and I loved it, was talking to your father after the draft up in the suite, and he said, I think my son will be a good player for you. I really appreciate that you drafted him. And if he ever gives you any trouble, just let me know. I'll put a boot in his ass. And I said, that's the kind of dad you want.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So, anyway, in terms of when we tore it all down and built it back up, we were really looking forward to the opportunity to be able to compete in the division. Because before the salary cap, if you're up against good managers, Bob Clark was a good manager in Philadelphia, and Neil Smith was a good manager in New York. If they've got a good manager and they're spending 2 to 3 times what you can spend, it's quite an advantage for them. And I really thought that this would be an opportunity for people to really earn their stripes and show their stripes in a balanced a more balanced way. Everybody's got the salary cap they have to live under now. Let's see who can manage the best under this, rather than just going out and being able to get all the best players because you can spend more.
Yeah.
And the Washington Capitals proved that good management can take you a long way in this league, obviously.
Yeah, no, it's fun to see. I mean, constructing a team is everybody think. I listen to the radio. I hear everyone talk about who you should get, who you should get rid of.
We all put cap friendly together and
Yeah,
try to piece together how are they going to stay under the cap and all
But
that.
I think it's fun for fans to be able to do that. You look at the cap and you know what everybody's earning and what's a good salary and which ones are working, which ones aren't.
Yeah, but even just like constructing a deal and putting in like a conditional pick or things like that, where it's like everything has a reason for it and it all works out. But being able to see the future is something that's pretty impressive. And there's one thing that I never had a chance really to talk to you or Bruce about it, and and obviously a milestone for Bruce last night, his 1,000th game,
which by the way
great.
he really cared about. Bruce, the whole time I'd covered him, he's always like, it's just a round number, blah blah blah. And I got a chance to see him in Raleigh, and he's like, no, 1,000 really matters to me.
Yeah, it sure does.
It really he mattered to him to coach 1,000 NHL games.
He's 100% a hockey man. He's just a pure hockey guy, and it's all he wants to do is be in hockey and coach hockey.
Yeah, and you can tell just a passion for it, and what I think is, after leaving here and going somewhere else to play and getting to see the human element of the game, because like we said earlier, it is a business, but you're also dealing with people and careers and families and all that stuff. And a story that I have told before, and I don't know if it was a conversation between you and Bruce or what, but the first time that I was ever called up to play, it was it was the first, I think, trip. We were going to Vancouver, and I got sent down just before it. And I don't know if it was a conversation between you and Bruce or what, but Bruce said to me, he's like, hey, like we're going to Vancouver, your hometown. We're gonna try and get you up there for that trip. We'll figure it out. And same thing, at time of cap time, and I know that the team was up against the cap at that point. And I remember being shopping with my wife, and it was the night before you guys would have left. I'm like, oh damn, I really thought it was gonna happen, and then literally 10 minutes later, I got the call. And I just want to mention, things like that, doing that for somebody, I think it goes a really long way, and I think you end up having lifelong fans. And I just want to say that, I'm a big fan of everything that you have done, obviously here and there. And I for everybody who does listen, I think that just more respect needs to be given to everything that you bring, because I know that some places don't always do it the same way.
No, you got to have your thinking cap on and just be cognizant of all of those things all the time. And it feels awful when you miss one of those opportunities, but it feels great when you can deliver for people and have create a memory for them that lasts a lifetime.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
Bruce actually had this argument because do you remember the year where you guys signed Thomas Vokoun in the offseason? It was a 1-year deal, and then Bruce wants to start Michael Norworth on opening night. And Vokoun was upset because his family was flying into town and bought a bunch of tickets and this and that. And so he was very upset about it. Bruce, to this day, did not know his family was going to be in town. He's like, if I would have known that, of course I would have started him. He's like, I saw his numbers. He was better against Tampa. I think they were playing. You guys were playing in the second game. He's like, if I would have known that, of course I would have started him.
Right.
But no one came to him and said that. But it's so hard to be a person in this business sometimes, and I don't think fans realize how much personal stuff goes into it, because you guys aren't robots. You're not robots. We're not robots. There's so much people stuff that goes into it. Yeah. And I think the job of being a general manager, and certainly now a president of hockey operations, is so vast that I don't think people actually understand exactly what you do.
It is amazing. Yeah, it's amazing how much goes on in a day, and how many things you end up doing that when you thought about getting into hockey and being a general manager or a president someday, you never thought you'd be doing these things because they have nothing to do with hockey.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, everyone thinks you're just putting together a roster and talking trade. No, there's so much more that goes into it.
Yeah. And that's what you like about the challenge is there's something coming from all different directions at any time. So there's a lot of crisis management involved too.
This is a lesson for Karl, future general manager in the NHL, about everything that is to come.
I don't know about that.
Well, you know what, Karl, you just never know in this business.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
I mean, there are lots of different ways to become a manager in this league. Having played 10 years in the league, that's a real good foundation.
Yeah, this is true. I think we should maybe think about hitting.
Yeah,
with
so
questions here.
we'll be right back on All's Caps, and George McPhee gets to be the latest victim on Karl's stupid questions. Welcome back to All's Caps with former Capitals defenseman Karl Alzner, former Capitals general manager George McPhee. I am AP hockey writer Steve Wino, and now Karl's favorite portion of the show, Karl's stupid questions.
Yeah, so by now everybody should hopefully know the way that this game works. I just gave George a rundown also. So this question I've asked a couple times, usually to players and to Ben Guerrero, media, but I'm curious what you do on when you're traveling and you get onto the plane. What do you normally do? What do you pass the time with? I know you're a big reader, so I'm assuming maybe something along that line.
I basically read the whole time.
The whole time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, sort of my thing. I can sit on a plane and read a book or a couple of books from start to finish. 2-hour flight, 6-hour flight.
Really?
I just sit there and read.
What kind of books?
And it just all over the place.
Mm.
You know, I've read a bunch of the classics. I can read historical fiction. I can read novels, whatever, biographies. I usually have 2 or 3 books going at any one time, and that's sort of my quiet time. To I make sure I don't have Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And,
Really?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
read.
Yeah, because you're a learner, right? Like you love learning. You don't like to just sit there and not exercise the brain.
No, it's fundamental. You've got to read.
Yeah. Do you do crosswords?
I don't. I used to actually when I was here, and
We weren't allowed to do crosswords in Montreal, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I was so upset
Really?
about it. Yeah, I brought him into
Really?
the room and we were told to get out of there. If you're going to do a crossword, go somewhere else. I was so upset
well, I
about
don't
it.
understand that. But I was doing a lot for years there. I haven't done them in a number of years, but my neighbor realized I liked it so much he bought me that big book of New York Times, 500 puzzles and
Oh, man. Those are tough.
crosswords and I used to do, crazy. You shouldn't do them before you're going to bed
Yeah.
No, because it gets your brain.
because your brain starts. But that's when I would do them, and then you get stuck on some things.
Yeah.
Then you get up in the morning when you're fresh and zip, zip, zip. You get them all.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
It's amazing. Some
So-
days you got like brain fog and you just can't think of that answer. And other
Yeah.
days it's you get a puzzle done.
You got to
pretty
be
fast.
fresh.
Yeah.
That's why I do my writing in the morning. Like I can transcribe and everything at night. If I can't write anything at night.
No.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's just everything is early in the morning during the day. Like there's no
Yeah.
point in doing it.
Get the coffee going. And
Exactly.
Okay, next one is a little bit more hockey related. I'm curious, if you're starting a franchise right now, today, who would you say the 3 best players would be to start a franchise? Would you go forwards, forward defenseman, goalie? Like who would you focus
Are
on?
we allowing him to pick players from his own team?
Yeah, if you want to pick
Oh,
players.
you want
obviously.
actual players or positions?
Both. Like, well, I'm curious just the players, but
Yeah.
if you were, that's based off of, what you see out there, but what positions do you think you'd go for as well?
Yeah, well, positionally, the most important position game is in the net. So
Yeah.
I would want to get a goalie or 2
Yeah,
and a quarterback.
yeah.
You know.
So who would you say those players
And
would
a
be?
quarterback is a defenseman.
Yeah.
Probably Lane or Pietrangelo and Eichel.
Which we all can't wait to see. Everyone.
I
Going
can't
after
wait
that.
to see Eichel, and that's
Yeah.
not to interrupt your questions, but I can't wait to see Jack Eichel on this team, and I'm sure you are too, right? Like just
Yeah.
to see what he does here.
Yeah, it's hard to get those real difference makers,
Mhm.
and his talent and his drive he's at that level,
Mhm.
and so when we had a chance to get one,
Yeah.
we were aggressive. We've been aggressive in getting the things that we think make a difference. And I've always lived by, it's hard to trade some of the people that we've traded because you like them so much, but the organization comes first and the individual comes a close second.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we should quickly pivot for a second and just ask you that, on that topic, because it was such a big thing, what Eichel wants versus what the Sabres want. However much of that is true, we have no idea exactly, but what in your guys' decision trying to bring him in, like, you guys obviously did your own research on it, but were you of the mindset that let the player choose what he wants to do, or you guys just also agreed with that strategy of surgery? Or?
Yeah, we did. The artificial disc replacement was that didn't scare us off, obviously, and it was remarkable. And when we did all the research and we talked to the UFC guys and everything else that had it, and it was remarkable. He had the surgery, and we saw a video of him the next day passing pucks. He wasn't on the ice, but he was here, and he had these goggles on that were to help him with his, the vestibular and the ocular issues, and but he was passing pucks, and anyway, it
gave you hope right there that it's going to be okay.
He's back on the ice within weeks too.
He's going all out right
Yeah.
now. Like there's nothing holding him back.
Yeah.
We
He's got something to prove too. It's a good player to have.
Yeah. Well, his first practice was impressive, just to see that kind of ability, and know it's on your team.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. All right, next one here is...
These aren't stupid questions.
Well, that was a pivot, though. It wasn't part of the question, so you can't count that. This is also a hockey one, sorry. Do you have a hardest moment in hockey, whether it was playing, general manager, anything along those lines?
Hardest moment in hockey.
A hit you took, a punch you took or gave?
Trading people has always been really, really hard. Firing people has always been really, really hard. It's amazing. You don't think about those things when you get that chance to be a manager, that you're going to have to fire people.
Yeah.
And that was tough. And then just sort of two life experiences, 9/11, because we were here, and then October 1 in Vegas. That was it just what people will do to terrorize other people.
Yeah, that'll mess you up.
Yeah. And it's a community moment, and like the grief of that, and kind of trying to respond to that you guys as a team were a big part of in Vegas.
Well, that little hockey team in Vegas became, that became sort of the community hub for grief, and it was, and I guess really became an inspiration for the community. But anyway.
All right, we'll get a little more stupid with these questions here now. Who would play you in a movie, or who would you want to play you in a movie? These are questions I've had over the years that they kind of put you on the spot, and it's hard to think. And
rumor has it there is someone that's going to make a movie about that first year team.
No way.
Yeah.
Rumor has it, or it's like concrete.
Are you going to play yourself?
No.
Oh.
No. I'm trying to do my best to be a president, and I probably couldn't act a lick, so no. So I don't know.
Okay.
But
do you have someone that you?
I was thinking about this.
I was thinking Robert De Niro.
But
we need somebody a little younger than Robert.
Well,
De Niro,
I know.
don't we?
I mean, like right at the moment, no.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking heyday. We'll come up with something for you.
We're going to do Casting Central for this now.
Okay.
I do like watching the sports movies. Whether it's Kevin Costner in some of the sports movies. He's like the one where he was the manager of the football team.
Not any given. No. What are we?
That was he did a good job with that.
Oh man, dude,
I thought Moneyball was outstanding.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
And what that manager went through. And
Draft Day was the one you're thinking of, right?
Draft Day was good.
Draft Day is actually that's actually one of my favorite, like, easy, relaxing, like, you know what's going to happen movies, but it's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say maybe Tom Cruise with the hair, too. Like Tom Cruise would be a good one. There you go.
If Kevin Costner dyed his hair a little bit darker, I think Kevin Costner for me.
We're going to play around with this a little bit for you. Okay.
I had dinner with him many years ago in New York.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
One of the cool things about being in New York.
When he had just finished doing the movie, where he was the detective in Al Capone and that whole. Anyway, that was good too.
Cool. Okay, so now you're at one of those sweet racetracks in Vegas that everyone goes to on their bachelor parties, and you got supercars racing around the track.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of supercar are you driving, or what kind of vehicle? It doesn't have to be a supercar. What kind of vehicle would you want to drive around that track?
Well, it probably wouldn't be a Pinto or a Maverick.
You were a sedan. You had a sedan here, I'm pretty sure, right? S-Class sedan. I remember people's cars usually.
Yeah, and I don't do much with cars anymore. I drive a 2013 car that's been around the block.
So not that one on
so
this.
not that
No.
one. Okay.
Interestingly enough, when it comes to, and we're going way off topic here, but I was at the Vegas racetrack about a month ago. My youngest daughter was trying to get her license, and the police and professional drivers have this volunteer camp called Driver's Edge, where they take them out, and they have 4 stations, and the one is they explain the rules of the road, obviously, and they show people, they video people that get distracted when they're driving and what happens to them. And it's very graphic, but it scares these kids enough that maybe they'll be a little more careful. But then they take them out and they make them, they gun the car and slam on the brakes and control,
Yeah.
what
See
you're
what
doing.
you can, yeah.
Then they wet the track down. Same thing. Now you're skidding. How do you get out of it?
Yeah.
And it's, look where you want to go, and your hands will go that way. It's really interesting.
That's cool.
And so, it was fantastic for those kids because, as we all know, most kids aren't ready to drive, even though they had their license.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they're just not.
You're a few years away from dealing with your kids doing that.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. If you've never been in that situation, you have no idea how to handle it, right? That had happened to me during the lockout year, where I was just driving down a back road, and it was October, and it was 0 degrees Celsius, and there's no reason for there to be any ice on this road. But I'm going 100 kilometers an hour. Next thing you know, I hit black ice, and there's a car coming at me the other direction, and my back end went towards where my front end was. I was facing the ditch. The next thing you know, it whipped back around, so I was facing head on with this other truck. And then right at the last second, I don't know if I finally caught a little traction, ended up turning the wheel, and I went straight into the ditch, turned the car off, and just sat there for a sec.
Wow.
I've never been in a situation like that before, and it was crazy how close it was. But it's just nice. Like if you have an opportunity to get your kid to try something like that.
Yeah, I felt better about it when we were done.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so last one here then is what will be your perfect Saturday? What are you doing? You do whatever you want, day off. Or maybe perfect Saturday is watching hockey. I don't know, but what's your perfect day look like?
Perfect Saturday would be able to get up, good breakfast, get the exercise in, and watch a practice. I love the smells, the sounds of practice. I like watching NHL players practice because they're just so darn good.
Mm-hmm.
They're just so good. And then time with the family in the afternoon, do some hiking, do something together, and then go to a hockey game.
I would have thought nice dinner or hockey game would have been fine there, right? Like,
yeah. Well, the nice dinner comes the next night. Right?
There you go.
So that's your perfect Sunday.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's perfect Sunday.
And that's what we do. We go to 5 o'clock mass, and then we go for a nice dinner, or we have it at home.
Yeah, it's funny you said that about the rink. The other day, my buddy, he just said he was just joking around. He says, "Hey, yeah, my kid's gonna be, or I'll be at Kettler at 5:45 a.m. tomorrow morning if anyone wants to go." And I thought about it for a second. Like, I love the smell of the rink in the morning, and like my kids aren't really quite old enough to play. And I texted him at 6 in the morning, and I said, "Hey, where are you?" he's like, I'm in the parking lot waiting for practice to start, and I sent him a picture of the rink, and he lost it. He's like, why the hell are you here right now? Like, there's just something about the rink, like being there and just.
Well, we grew up in them, and it's a big part of our lives.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Well, that answer is going to give you a few bonus points here. So
he has a whole calculation,
I do.
as you can see.
Franchise players. I'm going to go with Tom Cruise on that.
It's giving you an answer.
Yes, giving you an answer for you. I'm going to go with a total here.
So we're done with those questions?
That's it. You got 6. That was all you needed right there.
Yeah.
Put you through the ringer.
Yeah, we're going to go here 102 points. 102, which I think puts you in the top 5 all time, which is pretty impressive. So congratulations on
Thank
your
you very kindly.
on your points.
George,
Easier than a law school exam.
thank you very much for joining us, and best of luck
Thank
to
you
you guys
guys.
in the Vegas Golden Knights.
Thank you.
And
very
thanks
much for having me.
thanks to everybody for listening on All's Caps. I think next time it'll be Jason Chimera. The actual next episode we do. We'll be back with Jason Chimera, and then I'm going to be in Beijing, so I don't know what we're doing. But at some point, we're going to be recording in the middle of the night for one of us.
Shimmer's still in Edmonton?
Shimmer's still in Edmonton. Oh yeah, having a good time.
I hear from him once in a while, just to give you some grief.
Yes.
So we will
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very
we will
much.
talk. We will
This
talk
is
to everybody
fun.
very soon.